Frankie and Johnny were lovers. Oh Lord, how they could love. Swore to be true to each other, as true as the stars above. He was her man, but he was doing her wrong. Frankie went down to the barroom just to get a bucket of beer. Said to that old bartender, "Is my loving Johnny been here? You know he's my man. He wouldn't do me wrong. Don't want to cause you no trouble. I don't want to tell you no lie. But I saw your lover just an hour ago with a gal named Nellie Bly. He's your man, but he's a-doing you wrong." Frankie looked over the transom, much to her surprise. There was her lover Johnny in bed with Miss Nellie Bly. He was her man, but he was doing her wrong. Frankie pulled back her kimono, pulled out her little 44. She shot 3 times right through that hardwood door. He was her man, but he was doing her wrong. This story has no moral. This story has no can. This story only goes to show that there ain't no good in men. They'll do you wrong, just as sure as you're born. Yeah, he was her man, but he was doing her wrong. He was her man, but he was doing her wrong. Thank you very much. Thank you. A woman called Frankie Baker. She was 22 years of age, and she made a living in the what we call the sex industry. She had a young boyfriend, or pimp, who was called Alan. He was 17 years of age, and he liked to dress well. So the arrangement was Frankie earned the money, he wore the clothes, and everything was grand until he got the roving eye, and she found him in a hotel room with another woman, and they had a big row. She hauled him out in the street, and they ranted and raved at each other. And the rest of the story we have to get from her side, because she said she went home back to the flat, the apartment they lived in, and Alan went on carousing, and he came back about 5 hours later, and they continued the row, and he pulled out a knife, and she reached under the pillow where she kept her little 44. She shot him once. The song says she shot him 3 times, but she only shot him once. She was taken arrested. He died 2 days later. She was arrested, charged with murder, and she was found not guilty, justifiable homicide. Self-defense. So there was a bit of an industry in those days of, if something happened in the town, it's all over the place, somebody would write a ballad, print it up, make a few bob, just sell the sing the street corner. So it was Frankie shot Alan, and then it became Frankie and Albert, and the version I know is Frankie and Johnny. It's only 117 verses, of which I will sing 3 or 4. But her problem was that people still were, the song became so popular that people would point her out in the street and say, that's the Frankie. So she left St. Louis, she left the industry, she opened a shoe shine shop, which was out in Portland, Oregon. And she was living quietly there, and everything was grand until Mae West made a film called She Done Him Wrong or something like that. And of course the whole thing started up again, and people were pointing her out and pointing out the shop. That's where Frankie lives. Frankie and Johnny and so on. So she sued them. She sued the studio because she felt it was her messing with her life. She lost. 4 years later they made another film. She sued them again. She lost again. But anyway, she lived on and died in the 1950s, something in her 70s. So
How's she now?
she's doing okay actually. Anyway, that was it. You go home now.